Rejection is one of the most powerful forces in the human experience, and Einstein's words encapsulate a profound truth that is often overlooked. The barriers we encounter are not merely obstacles. They are catalysts for growth, innovation, and self-reliance. The notion that rejection can be a driving force behind success may seem counterintuitive, especially in a world that often associates no with failure, discouragement, and limitation. However, history has repeatedly shown that the people who achieve greatness are often those who faced resistance, skepticism, and outright dismissal, yet found a way to persevere. Einstein's perspective shifts the narrative. Rather than seeing rejection as an endpoint, he saw it as an inflection point, a moment that pushed him to forge his own path rather than rely on external validation. Einstein's life itself is a testament to this philosophy. Though he is now universally recognized as one of the most brilliant minds in history, his early academic journey was far from smooth. Contrary to the myth that he was a poor student, Einstein actually excelled in subjects that interested him, particularly physics and mathematics. However, he was also a nonconformist, often clashing with rigid educational structures that prioritized rote learning over independent thought. His rebellious nature and disregard for conventional academic pathways led to resistance from teachers and mentors who failed to recognize his potential. One of the most well-known setbacks in Einstein's early career was his inability to secure an academic position after graduating from the Swiss Federal Polytechnic. Despite his extraordinary grasp of theoretical physics, he was met with rejection after rejection from various universities and institutions. Instead of giving up, Einstein took a job as a clerk at the Swiss Patent Office, a seemingly mundane occupation that turned out to be pivotal for his development as a physicist. With fewer academic pressures and distractions, he had the freedom to think deeply about fundamental problems in physics, leading to his groundbreaking work in 1905, his miracle year, in which he published papers that would reshape modern science, including his theory of special relativity and the famous equation E=mc². Beyond Einstein, history is filled with stories of individuals who turned rejection into a source of motivation. Walt Disney, now synonymous with creativity and entertainment, was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, and faced multiple failures before finally establishing his empire. J.K. Rowling, before publishing Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 different publishers. Oprah Winfrey was told early in her career that she was unfit for television. The Beatles were turned down by multiple record labels before they revolutionized the music industry. These examples are not just inspiring anecdotes, they illustrate a pattern of resilience, a willingness to embrace setbacks as stepping stones rather than dead ends. Einstein's quote reminds us that those who told him no were, in fact, giving him a gift, the opportunity to prove to himself that he didn't need their approval to succeed. The psychological implications of rejection are equally fascinating. At a fundamental level, human beings are wired to seek acceptance. From an evolutionary standpoint, belonging to a group was essential for survival, so social rejection often triggers emotional pain and self-doubt. However, how individuals respond to rejection varies greatly. Some allow it to define them, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy, while others use it as fuel for transformation. Studies in psychology suggest that resilient individuals reframe rejection as constructive feedback rather than personal failure. They recognize that rejection is often subjective, influenced by circumstances beyond their control, and does not necessarily reflect their true worth or ability. This mindset shift, seeing no as a redirection rather than a verdict, is one of the defining characteristics of successful people. The broader societal implications of Einstein's quote extend beyond individual success stories. Many of the world's greatest innovations and social movements have emerged precisely because of rejection. Throughout history, those who challenged prevailing ideas, whether in science, politics, or art, were met with resistance. The Wright brothers were ridiculed for their belief in powered flight, but their persistence changed transportation forever. The civil rights movement in the United States faced enormous institutional opposition, Yet figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks refused to accept rejection as final, ultimately reshaping the course of history. Scientific revolutions, from Galileo's defense of heliocentrism to Darwin's theory of evolution, faced fierce opposition from the establishment before becoming widely accepted truths. These examples highlight that rejection is not merely a personal experience but a fundamental force that drives progress by pushing those with vision to fight harder for what they believe in. In a modern context, Einstein's wisdom is more relevant than ever. We live in an era where rejection is amplified: job rejections, failed projects, social media scrutiny, but also where the ability to forge one's own path has never been greater. The internet has democratized access to knowledge, platforms, and opportunities. Those who once needed approval from gatekeepers, publishers, employers, investors, now have alternative routes to success. Independent creators, entrepreneurs, and thinkers can share their ideas with the world without waiting for permission. Rejection is still a reality, but as Einstein's quote suggests, it does not have to be an endpoint. Instead, it can be the very thing that pushes someone to build something on their own terms. On a personal level, embracing Einstein's philosophy requires a mindset shift. It means seeing rejection not as a reflection of failure, but as a challenge, an invitation to reassess, improve, and persist. It means recognizing that every successful person has encountered rejection and that those who ultimately rise above it are the ones who refuse to let it define them. It also means understanding that no external authority has the final say on one's potential. If Einstein had accepted the rejections he faced early in his career as proof that he wasn't meant to be a physicist, the world might never have known the theory of relativity. If every great thinker, creator, or leader had let no discourage them, history would look vastly different. The beauty of Einstein's perspective is that it reclaims the power that rejection attempts to take away. When someone tells you no, they are essentially denying you an opportunity. But Einstein flips the narrative. Those who reject you are not stopping you. They are motivating you to do it yourself. This idea is incredibly liberating because it shifts control back into your hands. You no longer need approval, validation, or permission to chase your dreams. The very resistance you face becomes the proof that you are onto something worth pursuing. Ultimately, Einstein's words remind us that rejection is not the opposite of success. It is often the prerequisite for it. It is not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed as a necessary part of the journey. The people who reject us, who dismiss our ideas, who fail to see our potential, may think they are closing doors, but in reality, they are pushing us toward a path we might never have taken otherwise, the path of self-reliance, determination, and ultimately, success on our own terms.